Now, having the courage to tell someone a secret you've been keeping since you were a child is never easy, and nobody knows that more than former England footballer Paul Stewart. Now, at the age of 52, Paul has taken the very brave step of admitting that he was sexually assaulted when he was a child by a football coach. And you may remember as well, recently, another footballer, Andy Woodward, he's recently spoken out about abuse by a youth coach, and following his admission, apparently, I think 6 other players have come forward. So that is an ongoing investigation at the moment, and it often takes one person to talk about something to make other people realise that they're not alone and they can talk about it too. And we were discussing this morning, you know, can you ever really move on from a traumatic childhood experience? And Saira, you've talked very openly on the programme about being assaulted by an uncle when you were 13 years old in your home, and how traumatic that is. And I don't want to take you back to there, but I would be interested to know now, as an adult, in hindsight, when you look back, how do you think that has affected you? Has it impacted your whole life, do you think, or could you move on?
Well, before I answer that, do you mind if I sort of just publicly say how much admiration I've got for Andy and Paul for coming out in a sport which is all about being macho and, you know, being manly, and it must have been so difficult. So I do applaud them, and well done, guys, for coming out and being so brave. I think I read, you know, something that Paul wrote in the interview. He said it robbed him of his childhood, and in his adult life he finds it very difficult to show affection to his family. He's going to be a grandfather coming up, and so for him, he didn't hug his wife. I think he said he couldn't hug his wife of 29 years. Does it affect you? Yes, it does. But I think as a child you don't, and as a young person, you don't know it's affecting you. And I think how it affected me was from that moment, that incident robbed me of my childhood and of my innocence. And I think if it hadn't have happened, I might be a different person. But I look back now as a 46-year-old woman, and I look at my life and what I've been like, I became very angry, because I felt, why did this happen to me? Why do people do this to other people?
Especially a family member.
Somebody who was supposed to be, you know, you trust, safeguard you. I became very, I think, without even knowing it, my behaviour was just aggressive. I was angry, you know, and as soon as I came from people, was with people, there was a barrier. And also my feelings with men that I didn't know, I all of a sudden, without even realising, was just strong and assertive and tried to be like a man, you know, really weird. And you don't know that's happening. It's only when you have come to a place where you can reflect on life, and when you're with other women who haven't experienced that, you realise, why am I different? And then you start thinking and going back through events, and for me, it comes to that point. I'm actually taking counselling, and I'm the last person to ever admit that I need counselling, because for me, in my mind, my generation, counselling is seen as a failure, but a weakness. But I absolutely need it, because I've got 2 children, and actually I don't have any problem hugging them and kissing them. In fact, I probably do it too much to sort of protect them. It's that motherly instinct. But for me, yeah, it did rob me of my innocence, and it robbed me of perhaps a person I could have been. A gentler person towards people and the people I work with and
what
stuff,
about people?
generally.
Because I think, you know, if any of us had to describe you and seeing you right from The Apprentice before I even knew you, I would say she's very feisty, Saira. She's very driven, tough, ambitious, and in a good way. I wouldn't be saying that in any way, in a derogatory way. How are people treating you differently now that you've talked about this publicly?
Well, do you know, interestingly enough, I'm treating myself differently. I'm treating myself, I don't see myself, I don't feel guilty, I don't feel dirty.
You're a victim.
But when you're harbouring these views, you feel guilty, dirty, ashamed. Also, when it comes out, you know, it's not just me, it's the abuser's family. They don't know about this person's. So there's so much, but I don't feel bad about myself anymore. And I feel calmer about myself. And I actually have noticed that people are gentle towards me now. I feel like they kind of get
understanding the whole picture.
I think they get why I've been like that most of my life. They get it. That missing piece is like, why is she so, you know, highly strong all the time?
If you've enjoyed that, then why not click here for more? And don't forget to subscribe by clicking here. so that you never miss out on the best Loose Women moments.